Hey y'all, this is TCA Gaming, and in this video we are going to go over some changes that PSA has made to the submission process. I found out about it through email. Apparently I violated a few of their new policies for how to submit cards, and so I found out the hard way. However, this is new. It's a change that was just implemented as far as that I can understand, and so they did not charge me for it, but they were making me aware so that I can change it for the future. So I want to make sure that you guys know as well. Now, before we get into that, if you've been a part of this channel for a few years, you know about this time of year, we start to raise some kind of awareness for charity or ministry that we could all give to, that we can kind of pitch in and try to help somebody out. And so in the past, we've done Anna Grace. You guys helped raise money for a wheelchair that she was able to get. Definitely appreciate that. And a couple years ago, we had a fire red leaf green box that you guys bought into, and then the money went directly to my church, which benefited local school children where they get meals on the weekend. Well, this year we're going to be doing the Appalachian Backpack Ministry. So if you don't know what that is, it's very similar to Operation Christmas Child, which is where they get a shoebox and they put things in there, basic hygiene needs, maybe a toy, a little bit of food, and then it's sent overseas to children in need. But that shoebox becomes their Christmas present. And so it's a way to just spread the generosity to those who are in more need than we would ever be. And so around here, it's called the Appalachian Backpack Ministry. So it's very similar to the Operation Christmas Child. However, it's just for like people who are affected by poverty in the Appalachian region. And so if you're not aware, like, the Appalachian Mountains have some of the poorest areas in America. It's almost like third world countries where you go. I personally had an opportunity to serve on a mission trip recently with my church to the town of Welch. And if you look up the town of Welch, it's in McDowell County, West Virginia. And it's actually the poorest county that has a population greater than 10,000 people in America. It's the fifth overall poorest county if you're looking at like the household median income, and it's like a third of what the average income is. Like their average is a third of that. I mean, it's almost like hopeless when you go there. It's a real shame because a lot of these towns, they were booming at one time, but it was mostly based off of the coal mines. And once the coal mines either dried up or the business moved somewhere else, the business stopped coming in, and people didn't have jobs, but they still live there. Like, I've never seen a Walmart completely abandoned and grown over like it was in the woods. But that's the kind of area that we're talking about. In fact, let me see if I can pull up. So like this is McDowell County, West Virginia, and there's nothing that I saw that looked anything this nice there. But yeah, so you can see it right here. Like this is something that was put out by by wallstreet.com, but number 5 of the poorest counties in America, McDowell County, West Virginia. But this is just one of the places that it would benefit. And these all go to children. So this is BaptistOnMissions.org. So this is Appalachian Christmas Outreach. Last year they were able to make 23,000 bags, and then this year they have a goal of 24,000. However, I'm thinking the need is going to be much greater than that, because Hurricane Helene, the lasting impacts are still in effect in a lot of these places. I mean, there were towns that were just wiped off the map. And I know that there's several places around here building tiny homes and working on continually distributing food supplies, clothes. As winter comes in, they need generators for heat. I mean, it's really a sad state for a lot of these places that are in the Appalachian Mountains. And so if you would like to participate, one way that you can go to BaptistOnMission.org, and you could make a book bag yourself. And so pretty much it lists out exactly what you need. You're going to put basic hygiene in there, hygiene items, maybe some clothes, a toy, pop top canned food is usually like preferred if you're going to do like food. And a few other things. It lists it out for you. It even shows you where you can buy the stuff in bulk. Make it age appropriate. It's from ages 4 to 17. And all of these are kids. So, I mean, this isn't like, I realize adults have needs too, but this is all going directly to children who shouldn't have to worry about anything. They should be taken care of. And I think that they should be able to at least get something for Christmas. And so this might be what their Christmas is. A book bag with some basic supplies in there. Something that, probably any of us could buy if we just skipped one meal with our family. But if you're wondering about the cost, generally $25 will get you a cheap book bag and cheap supplies, and you can take care of it that way. Or if you want to go a little bit more expensive, upwards of $50 will take care of one child in their entire Christmas. And if you don't have the time, or you don't feel like going through and buying the individual items and shipping them, because sometimes that's not the best use of money as it is, my church, you can actually, I will have this link down there in the description. This link right here will bring you to, you can give to World Baptist Church, and I can guarantee you 100% of the funds go towards this outreach. You can select the fund, and Appalachian backpacks, that's what we're raising money for. And just select one time. Of course, you can give more. They do this every year. Like, you can make it a weekly thing if you want to. Any amount that you want to give, $1 or $1,000. I mean, I can't imagine somebody's going to give that much, but if you do, it will be used. And you can, if you go to think about it, like, our church goal is 120 backpacks. Like, that's how many backpacks we want to pack together. That's less than one Moonbryon, if you think about it, for what could change at least give Christmas to 120 kids in areas that, you know, they're just really poor. I mean, a lot of these places don't have running water. I know when we went to Welch, we couldn't drink the water. When we were here, like, you had to drink bottled water, because, like, if you open up that sink, like, even when you're, like, flushing the toilet, it looks like it's mellowing in there, if you know what I'm saying. Like, if it's yellow, let it mellow. Well, it's always mellowing because that's the color of the water. There's, like, sulfur in it. You have to get bottled water. When we were going up the mountain, people were stopped on the side of the road, and water was, they had these pipes that they ran into natural springs, and they'd be filling up jugs to take with them back to their house. And you still have to, and with that kind of water, I mean, if you want ice, you're going to have to freeze it. And if you want to heat it, you're going to have to boil it. And if it sits too long, you're going to have to boil it anyway so that it's clean. But anyways, guys, I know that I've been on this for a while, and I told you guys I was going to tell you about PSA. But if you want more information about this, please don't hesitate to reach out. My email is always in the description of every video. And then if you just want to give, I have a link down there directly to my church where you can give to the Appalachian Backpacks. And we'll make sure that with the money that you donate, book bags are bought to make Christmas happen for some kids. All right, so let's get into the violation. All right, so influencing customer behavior cue. But all right, you can see this was from September 26th. So that was yesterday as of when I'm recording this right now. Let me make sure this is up here. All right, it is. It says incorrect card saver, incorrect sleeve. So I had two violations. It said, thank you for the email. This is regarding order numbers. And then it gives these two. Because initially they didn't give order numbers. And because I emailed them back, I was like, man, I've been doing this for a decade. What do you mean I didn't do something right? They said they're implementing a new process, and we're now emailing customers when the orders does not meet PSA packaging guidelines found here. And so here are the guidelines. I mean, this is I guess you can go through here and look at all this stuff. But anyways, the violations that I had was our receiving department notified us that your order did not use the appropriate semi-rigid card holders. For normal size cards, semi-rigid holders must measure exactly 3 5/16 inches by 4 7/8 inches, and the semi-rigid card savers or card holders must be designed to fit cards up to, you know, that size. We recommend Cardboard Gold, Card Saver Ones, Ultra Pro Semi-Rigid Tall, and Ultra Pro's Semi-Rigid Tall card holders. And it says, I think for the thicker ones, there's exceptions. And the penny sleeve must also be transparent on both sides. And then they gave me an example of the one that I sent in, which I did do this. It was not clear on both sides. It says if they're not clear, the camera can't capture the back of the card. So that makes sense to me. So when we're looking at, let me pull off Chrome here. So this is the kind of sleeve I had sent some of those cards in right here. There we go. Like you can see, like that's got, these are the ETB Pokemon ones. Here's the exact one that I'd use for the order that they were giving an example of. And so they're saying that, hey, you can't use this because if you put a card in here, like, and you submit it. So if we wanted to submit this Drifblim, they take pictures of the front and the back when they come in. However, you can't see the back of the card. And so to me, this definitely makes sense. So if you've been submitting in penny sleeves or any type of sleeve that is not clear, can't use that anymore. I was using ETB sleeves because for the longest time, I just had thousands of packs of sleeves. I'm like, I have no point in buying penny sleeves. Let me just use these things. And so I sleeved a lot of cards up that way. And so make sure you change that if that's what you're doing. Use something like this right here where you can clearly see if they go to scan it, the front and the back. Cards can match up, and this way if there's any discrepancy, this protects both them and you when the card comes in, so that they can see, hey, this is the condition it was received in. When it went out, this is the condition, this is the exact card. They can match up the hollow patterns, they can match up damage on the back. So I think that's a good thing. I'm glad that they're pushing out that, because when you take the scans, I have looked at my cards before on like just to see the preview, and I was like, well, I can't really see the back. They don't take it out, they just leave it in the sleeve when they're taking their scans. I had always assumed that they take the card out of here, and when they start to grade it or do the processing that way, that's when they scan the cards. But no, they scan it right when they get in. The other issue that was said was that I submitted the wrong size for this. So this is what they want me to send it in. This is a Card Saver one. I do have a few of these, but for the most part, I try to keep and reuse these anytime I can. And you can see I did measure this, that it's all the right dimensions. Fits the card nicely. You can get in there easily, pull the card out. And so don't use top loaders. I didn't use a top loader. So I didn't use that. The only other ones that I have are, I've got 4 different brands, because anytime I get these, I just try to reuse them. And I checked the size of all of these, and they're all correct. So I'm not too sure what I violated here, like what the violation was. They said it was the incorrect size, but as you can see, they're all the same size. Now, there is a slight difference in the rounding of the corners. Like, surely that's not going to exclude Palms Off Gaming and Zion semi-rigids. I mean, it's just a little bit of a rounding difference on the corner. But yeah, the Card Saver one, the CGC ones, I mean, they're pretty much exact. I guess you could say the CGC ones have a little, I mean, it's a tiny bit of difference in size, but it's not much. I mean, it's like super, super small. But yeah, so these are the right size. So I don't know what the policy violation entailed on my end from that part. Unless I just had some random semi-rigid, like a Card Saver 2. I believe that one's like a smaller one. I don't like using those because they're so tight on the card. This is the size that, as far as I know, everybody uses. So like Palms Off Gaming, Zion, CGC, like all of these I would think should be just fine, since they are the exact size, or pretty much the exact size, their exact height and width. The rounding of the corners, I don't see how that would make a difference. So maybe you guys see something here that maybe I'm not, maybe I used something else, or maybe you read something a little different on the violation that I had for the size. I definitely didn't use top loaders. I don't have those anymore. I stopped using those a long time ago when I realized the cards just, they kind of like pop in and out, which they said you can use those for thicker cards. I'm not sure, why. I mean, because the thick card will fit in here too. It must be like a really thick card that can't fit in here, but it can go into a top loader. They said you could also use like the tall ones. I'm not sure. I guess that would be for a different size card. But for the regular size trading cards, make sure that you've got a clear sleeve. You're not using, ETB sleeves or any other type of sleeve that's, not translucent. And I wouldn't recommend using any of the perfect fit ones, because those are tough to get in and out, and you do not want to give that grader any excuse to be able to mishandle your card if you're sending it into PSA. If you don't know, their prices have went up, so their prices are going up again, and so it's costing you more and more to grade these cards. So make sure that when you send in good cards, good condition, well, anytime you send in cards that you're paying to have graded, I would just make sure that it's protected, but also that they can pull the cards out easily. I've seen a lot of people who put those little sticky things on the front of here, that way it's almost like a sticky note, but it's a strip, and that way they can pull the strip out and then they can take the little sticky note off. But go through and read the guidelines, make sure that doesn't violate anything, because I guess it could be obscuring a part of the card where you couldn't see it. But anyways, yeah, the semi-rigids, make sure that they are the correct size. For sure, they're recommending this exact brand. You can't get this at Cardboard Gold. I typically go with I've got these left over, but Zion is usually the cheapest. Or at least that's what the last time I bought them, they were the cheapest ones. But there are other brands that you can use, as far as I can tell. Like, I don't think that these would cause any issues, since they are the size that they recommended. But that's it. Those are the 2 changes. If there are other changes that you guys have been hit with for policy violations in your email, feel free to put them down there in the comments, and maybe I'll check them out, and maybe I'll do a follow-up and address them myself. But as always, if you do go to submit into PSA, don't forget to use the code TCA5, TCA 5, I think that's what it is. And you can, or TCA 25, yes, TCA 25. The code's down there in the description. But if you use that code, you can get up to $25 off your first submission. And I think to sign up, really all you need is an email. Use that email, sign up for a new account, and then you can use the code and get $25 off your first submission. Thanks for listening. Thanks for giving me time to talk about our generosity giving thing that we're going to do this year. And I hope to see you guys giving to the Appalachian Backpack Ministry. But if you don't, I completely understand. It's just something that I want to throw out there. If you're looking for a place to give and give back to the community of the needy, not so much the Pokemon community, but people who don't have as much as you, then this could be an opportunity for you to share Christmas, give a Christmas gift to a kid in need. And so for those of you who can't afford that, don't put yourself in any position to where it would hurt you as well. But I definitely appreciate your thoughts. Thanks.